All right, let's talk about school. For more than 100 years, the model has been pretty much the same, right? You've got a teacher up front, kids at their desks, and a day packed from bell to bell. But what if that whole model is just wrong? Today, we're going to look at a super radical new idea called alpha schools, and they're asking a pretty wild question. What if school only took 2 hours a day? Now, to even understand why an idea that crazy is gaining traction, you gotta ask a pretty tough question first. Is our current system actually working? I mean, are we really getting kids ready for a future driven by AI, or are we just preparing them for a world that, frankly, doesn't exist anymore? The data, well, it tells a pretty clear story. And yeah, these numbers they're not great. We're looking at historic lows in what high school seniors can actually do. Get this, only about a third of them are proficient in reading. And math? Oof, that drops to just 22%. These aren't just numbers on a chart. This is millions of kids graduating who are just not prepared for what's next.
And it's not just K through 12. The whole pipeline that comes after is showing some major cracks. Just look at how people feel about college. Back in 2010, 3/4 of Americans thought college was super important. Fast forward to today, that number has been sliced in half, down to just 35%. People are straight up losing faith in the promise of the system.
And here's the real kicker. Right now, college graduates are the single group of people who stay unemployed the longest. So you have to wonder, if the system isn't delivering on its big promise, maybe it's time for a completely new system with a completely different promise. Which, brings us right back to this wild idea. 2 hours a day? It sounds totally impossible. How could you possibly cram everything you need to learn into just 2 hours? Well, the folks behind Alpha Schools say we're asking the wrong question. The real question is, why on earth does it take so long right now? And this quote from the founder, Joe Lamont, just nails it. The crazy part is, this isn't some new discovery. Learning science is known for decades, that kids are capable of learning way, way faster. The problem, the bottleneck, has always been the model itself. One teacher trying to teach 30 different kids, all at 30 different speeds. It just doesn't work. So how did they do it? How do you redesign school from the absolute ground up? Well, it's all built on what they call the 5 pillars, a framework they designed to create what they call a 10x better school. Let's dig into how this creates a completely different kind of day. So here's the blueprint. It all starts with a premise that sounds kind of crazy. Kids must love school. From there, it's all about learning way faster, developing actual life skills, changing the role of adults from teachers to guides, and focusing on building character. Let's just park on that first pillar for a second because it's the foundation for everything. They believe if kids aren't happy and engaged, nothing else even matters. And their proof is kind of amazing. They actually ask their students, would you rather go to school or go on vacation? And somewhere between 40 and 60% of them say they'd rather go to school. I mean, can you imagine? So what does a day here actually look like? Well, it kicks off with this super focused 2-hour academic block. And because of their system, students actually learn more in those 2 hours than they would in a full traditional school day. And that frees up the entire afternoon for these life skill workshops. And we're not talking about home ec. We're talking about 5th graders running actual Airbnbs, high schoolers doing research so good it gets submitted to the science journal Nature. It's unbelievable. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's all made possible by this really powerful mix of some seriously advanced tech and a total rethinking of what the adults in the room are there to do. See, in the alpha model, they don't have teachers, they have guides. The AI handles all the direct instruction, the lecturing, the facts and figures, and that frees up the human to do what humans are best at, to be a mentor, a coach, to provide that motivational support. They're not there to deliver content, they're there to develop talent. And if you want to get the absolute best people for a new role like that, well, you got to flip the script on pay too. Guides at Alpha start at over $100,000 a year. So suddenly, you're attracting people you'd never find in a normal school. Pro sports coaches, business leaders, people whose expertise is in motivation and mentorship. Now, when we say AI in the classroom, I know what everyone thinks. Kids using ChatGPT to write their essays. But it is so important to understand that is not what's happening here at all. They actually call tools like that cheat bots, and they think they're terrible for learning. Their own custom-built AI has a totally different job. Its real purpose is to create the perfect personalized lesson for every single kid. It even uses vision models to see if a student is just guessing or scrolling, and it coaches them on their learning habits. The whole point isn't just to teach facts, it's to teach the actual skill of how to learn and focus.
Okay, so the model is revolutionary. The tech is next level. But the big question is, does it work? Let's look at the actual results and what this could all mean for the future of school. All right, get ready for this. If you look at one of the most standard tests we have, the SAT, the results are, well, they're pretty mind-blowing. The average Alpha Senior scores a 1535. The national average is 1024. That's a 500-point difference. It puts them squarely in the 99th percentile.
But here's a discovery they made that's maybe even more shocking than the test scores. They found that new students would come in with perfect, straight-A report cards from their old schools. But when Alpha tested them, they could be anywhere from a full year ahead to 3 years behind grade level. It just goes to show you that traditional grades can hide some massive gaps in what a kid really knows. And that is why their whole academic system is built on what's called mastery-based learning. It's simple. You don't move on to the next topic until you've actually mastered the one you're on. The AI just keeps giving you personalized lessons until you get it. The whole focus shifts from how much time you spent sitting in a chair to how much effort you put in. The idea is that everyone can get to 100%.
Now, of course, it's not all a perfect utopia. They have some massive challenges ahead. I mean, how do you keep that quality of mentorship high when you start to grow? How do you get the cost of this custom AI down so more families can afford it? And maybe the biggest one of all, how do you convince parents to let go of the idea of school that they grew up with? These are all really big hurdles they've got to clear. But at the end of the day, this whole experiment forces all of us to ask a much, much bigger question. If technology can really make learning 10 times faster, if we could free up 80% of a kid's day, what would we do with all that time? What kind of skills, what passions, what kind of people could we build? And that is the real revolution that's being proposed here.